Hey, Battle Built here with another video, and today we're getting some more Master Premier Cup Go Battle League battles. So, a couple days ago I showed you my go-to team for Season 3 Master Premier battles because everybody's running the Togekiss lead. Well, technically in Premier, when I'm not running in Togekiss leads, which is a minority of the time, the majority is Togekiss leads, I technically have a backup team, a go-to team that I still have success with, and this was a team that took me to rank 10 in Season 2. It's my Garchomp, Snorlax, Metagross team, so this video is here to break it down a little bit more and show you that I can still have success. So honestly, Master Premier, I probably feel like I have, I'm my most comfortable here, which is odd to say because I dislike Masters and I love Great League, but in Premier specifically is where I have two go-to teams, and I could try out Spice, and then if I lose Elo using the Spice, then I could always go to these teams and gain back points. Between the Garchomp team and the Magnezone team, I've gained 100 points in one sitting when trying to make up points and putting in that effort. So don't take it just from my word. We're going to get into these battles, but before we do, I just want to thank you guys. We just hit and passed a little bit 3,000 subscribers, and all the support I've been getting on this channel is just extremely appreciated, and it's all because of you guys. So please, I hope that this set is valuable. I hope every video I give to you guys is valuable to show you my appreciation for all the support. So let's get into this set. If you weren't here when I hit rank 10 in Season 2 using this team, by all means, let me catch you up to speed. I run this team with Garchomp, the basic moveset, since it's in the lead of Mudshot, Samtomb, and Outrage. I run Snorlax as my safe swap option, Lick is the quick move, Body Slam charge move, and Outrage as its other charge move to sneak up on those Dragonites. It's coming clutch more times than you think. Actually, these first two battles, the Snorlax doesn't have Outrage, because I don't know why, but I TM'd it the Superpower, and I forgot to TM it off, so for these first two matches, I actually have Superpower on it, and Superpower does come in handy, it has its play, but Dragonite gives Garchomp a hard time, so Outrage is specifically there for that. But on screen you're going to see it says Outrage even though his first two matches are Superpower. I change it back later. And then Metagross with its usual moveset of Bullet Punch, Meteor Mash, and Earthquake. So getting into this first matchup, I'm actually in a pretty positive situation. The Machamp shielded the first charge move, which was an Outrage, so I'm fully expecting them to commit to the two shields since they have energy. Throw the Sand Tomb, get their second shield. I'm sitting nice because they can throw another charge move here. It'll be a cross chop. I can shield it. I can outpace them to the Outrage, but my opponent makes a really good play, which we're about to see. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry, my opponent does not make a very good play. I'm mixing up matches. My opponents have swapped on that Outrage, which I always give props to. This opponent had not. I landed the Outrage, won the lead. We're both sitting here with no shields, and they bring in their Snorlax, and they're going to try to lick me down. I get to the Sand Tomb, which will lower the defense of the Snorlax and essentially help out my Snorlax in this mirror situation, especially because now it's running Superpower for, again, these two matches. So Snorlax is coming in. We're going to just have a nice little lick battle because who doesn't love to watch Snorlaxes lick each other? And they swap into their Metagross. I'm like, you know what? This is not a good situation for me to swap in my Metagross because it'd be behind on energy and without shields, and Earthquake will just one-shot me. So this ended up being perfect for me having Superpower. I charge up to two of them here, and I'm going to throw both of them. I will leave my Metagross in the back to deal with their Snorlax. This first Superpower will do a nice chunk, but between the Superpowers and the licks, it works really well to take out the Metagross because Superpower is neutral, Metagross is Steel and Psychic, and then these licks end up being super effective, and I'm able to just take it out before it can do any other damage. So honestly, at this point, I swapped because my Snorlax has energy. They were about to Body Slam, which would have taken out my Snorlax. I definitely would love to save a Superpower in the back if necessary, and my Metagross can't do the job of taking out this Snorlax because I don't know what their second move is, and I need to get two Meteor Mashes off to take out their Snorlax. So I'm going for the first Meteor Mash here. That lands, gets them in the red. I'm not exactly going to be able to pull a punch down before they get to their charge move. And if this is an Earthquake, it will take out my Metagross. And look at that, ends up being an Earthquake. So it takes out my Metagross. I'm happy I swapped the way I did. I didn't need the Superpower because I got the Snorlax low. I go to the Body Slam right away, and this will win me the first match. So if you have any questions about movesets, Snorlax with Superpower does work with this team. Getting into the second match, let's see what the leads are going to be. We got Garchomp on a Metagross, and honestly, this looks more positive than it is. If you're the Metagross in the situation, I'll give you some advice, as much as I would prefer not to. You don't have to swap out like they just did. I did then bring in my Metagross, and this ends up being a bit of a mistake on my end, because I should have went with my Snorlax, but my Snorlax didn't have Outrage, and this is why I need Outrage on my Snorlax. Even if I'm not able to land it, the Outrage at least threatens a shield in this switch situation, and can allow me to keep Switch essentially. By bringing in Metagross here, I'm using my main Togekiss counter, and if I'm not able to keep Switch anyway, then I'm screwed regardless. Like, I don't like this Metagross on Dragonite matchup as the Metagross because of the fact that the Dragon Breaths just are so overpowering against Metagross. But back to that topic of Garchomp on Metagross, if you want to play that out the most effectively as a Metagross, throw a Meteor Mash. You don't need to shield the first Sand Tomb, and if you throw a Meteor Mash, you can get the Garchomp shield and then swap out and kind of leave that situation with shield advantage even though you're losing Switch. Because Garchomp will beat it, but you can put yourself in a pretty positive situation by doing that as the Metagross. So take that, don't do it against me. I was the messenger. I did you guys a solid. I'm not trying to improve my opponents, but take that piece of information. Either way, now they bring in their Metagross and they're going to be able to farm me down, which is very unfortunate. I go back into my own Garchomp because I was able to keep switching this. I'm really mixing up matches. I do apologize because, you know, I try to show you guys key sets and then I do other sets after and I get all my matches mixed up, but I was able to keep switch. But I think this ends up still being a problem for me because I'm pretty sure their Pokemon in the back is a Togekiss. So they swap into it, and here's the issue. Because I didn't use Snorlax on the Dragonite, which might not have kept me switch, and I used Metagross on the Dragonite, which did keep me switch, I don't really have a good answer for their Togekiss now. And without any shields, I'm not going to be able to body slam their Togekiss down and do enough damage so that my Garchomp can potentially close out this match. So this ends up just being a very unfortunate situation. I want to lick and body slam away as much as possible, but they're getting to a charge move. This should be a flamethrower. It won't take out Snorlax, but it'll get it so low that the next charm is just going to take me out. So there we go. They're about to charm me down, and even with that little bit of health left, my poor Garchomp can't do anything. I could have tried to get to the Outrage, but I would have gotten charmed before then. So I was like, you know, maybe Sand Tomb in a Mud Shot, but even then they're going to get another charm through, and I'm going to go down there. So unfortunate situation. Even though my opponent didn't play the lead how I'd recommend, they still lined up things nicely to win the match, and they did play well. It also didn't help that I was running my Snorlax with the wrong moveset, or what I wouldn't prefer, so I made sure I changed Snorlax's moveset to Outrage instead of Superpower for these remaining matches to not have another Dragonite issue like that. So, getting into this third match of the set, we have a pretty positive lead against Swampert, but we're going up against a Shadow Swampert, and I don't know how its Shadow ability is going to change the outcome of this matchup. So, assuming since the Shadow version is Glacier, I feel like my opponent's going to want to commit to it, so I decide to go for a bait here. I end up being able to bait their shields, and based on the fact that they shielded that first one, it really tells me they want to commit to their Swampert here, so my plan is to double bait and then go for the Outrage, which would then one-shot the Swampert at that pace. Honestly, I'm pretty confident the Outrage would take out the Swampert from this health also, but the point is I'm trying to be energy efficient, and if I know they're going to shield like they just did, I definitely would prefer them to shield the Sand Tomb than an Outrage. They've realized their situation that they're in, so they swap into Metagross, and what I decided to do here is a little wonky and not exactly recommended, but I Sand Tomb the Metagross, I bring in my own Metagross to counter, and I'm hoping I can get to a Meteor Mash before they get to an Earthquake, which I am able to, but even with the lower defense, their Metagross is not going to be KO'd by this Meteor Mash. They'll have a little bit of health left, and then they get to a charge move here, and I'm going to decide not to shield it. I don't really remember my exact logic on it. Oh, you know what? Swampert would have countered my Metagross. That was what my logic was. And now I can bring in my Garchomp here to essentially farm up some energy. And their Swampert is going to need a Hydro Cannon to take out my Garchomp. It's not going to be able to Mud Shot me down. Unless they have a Togekiss, which they don't seem to have because they brought in the Swampert here. So, I'm going to shield. The way that they swapped out before the Metagross kind of tells me that they're going to try and swap out their Swampert again once I get to an Outrage, which is exactly what they do. They bring in a Magnezone here. I go for the Sand Tomb, and I'm feeling pretty good here. Sand Tomb's going to hit really hard, and now I can bring in my Snorlax, who should be able to lick down this lowered defense Magnezone and just farm up a bunch of energy and then throw out the Swampert. They'll get to one Wild Charge here. It will do a good chunk of damage to my Snorlax, and I should worry about a second one, but their defense is so low that I am able to commit to the lick down. I have plenty of energy, so when the Swampert comes back in, I can essentially double Body Slam, take out their Swampert, and win this match. Honestly, I haven't, actually, well, it's a Shadow. So I would say I should have enough health to survive a Hydro Cannon, but because of the Shadow, I might not have. Luckily, I was able to get to another Body Slam here and take this match. Definitely a weird one to play. Worked out really well, though. Alright, getting into the fourth match of the set. this is the infamous lead that I changed teams for, the Togekiss lead, which is bound to happen even when running Garchomp. You have no play as a Garchomp here. You need to swap out immediately like I just did. And what this Togekiss is currently doing is it's still charming away at my Snorlax, which tells me they are countering with their own Snorlax. If they immediately swapped into their own Snorlax because mine has energy advantage, I'd actually win switch advantage back, which is why their Togekiss stayed in as long as it did. But this is going to cost them in the long run, and it's because of time management or really clock management, which you should be, I mean, I don't know where I'm pointing, but you should be checking that bottom right corner. I hope I'm pointing the right way. You should be checking that bottom right corner because clock management is going to be key, and I'm going to spoil this. I am able to pull out this match, even though at every turn it doesn't look like I should be able to. So we're spamming body slams back and forth. I'm overcharging really for no reason, maybe to try and threaten a shield to hope that they think maybe a superpower is coming or a skull bash is coming, but they end up not shielding, but my switch timer is up, and I try to get out. I was not able to because we CMP tied. And now they superpower and actually take out my Snorlax, which I'm kind of okay with because now my Garchomp's not switch locked here. What I can do and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to Sand Tomb this Snorlax, get it nice and low, have its defense lowered so I can then Mud Shot it down even if it throws a superpower or another Body Slam. Because it essentially debuffed itself from the first one, it's not going to hurt me too much. They go for another one. You see how much it did there. Now they're extra low on defense so I can Mud Shot down. And again, clock management, Togekiss in, I swap, and they actually stayed in for a little bit to throw their charge move, which is telling me their third Pokemon does not counter my Metagross too well, and this ends up being a Flamethrower, which is perfect because I use my shield wisely. Their third Pokemon ends up actually being a Metagross of their own. So on paper, a team of Togekiss, Snorlax, Metagross should be a team of Garchomp, Snorlax, Metagross, considering they win that first matchup and everything else after that should be a draw and a lock, but I pull off some really important baits. You saw that Meteor Mash, they shielded it. I'm going to shield whatever their charge move is. I expect it to be a Meteor Mash, but I need to shield regardless of it. I'm now going to farm up to another Earthquake, and I'm going to throw another Meteor Mash. Again, clock management. I'm checking that bottom right corner. My clock is almost up. I just want to bullet punch enough. Clock's up. Get Garchomp out. Takes the Meteor Mash to the face, which is perfect. My Metagross gets to save some of its health. It has a nice amount of energy. I can now Sand Tomb their Metagross, and once this happens, their Metagross isn't going to go down. They're actually going to be able to bullet punch me down, but I'm going to outpace them to the charge move, and I'm going to Meteor Mash their Metagross, and their Togekiss just threw a Flamethrower earlier. So once I take out this Metagross, the Togekiss can't do anything to me. It would need to get all the way to another charge move, which it's super far from, and I will outpace it to this charge move, and I will be able to Meteor Mash the Togekiss because of the baits I pulled, and again, because of clock management, which was extremely key in this match. So pulled off. It is possible to beat a Togekiss lead when leading Garchomp. So, this team can win after a Togekiss lead. It's just not a situation I recommend a lot. There was a lot of maneuvering that went into pulling off that win. So if you're seeing a lot of Togekiss leads, I highly recommend you check out my other go-to team with the Magnezone lead. I'll try to link it in the video above if I can figure that out. But after coming back from that Togekiss lead, I was then rewarded with a Magnezone lead, and they save swapped into Gyarados, and I save swapped into Snorlax. And after pulling off the last match of winning against Togekiss, I didn't want to then lose the next match in a positive lead, so I got a little more cautious than I'd recommend. I shielded that Aqua Tail. I'm throwing this Body Slam here, and then I'm going to over farm. They're going to get to another charge move, and this was way too quick to be anything other than another Aqua Tail, but I shielded again because honestly switch advantage was way more important, but I knew it was only an Aqua Tail, so that was just me being way too cautious. I landed that Body Slam. They have a 2 shield to no shield advantage, but keeping switch is all that matters because that Magnezone will not be able to do any damage against my Garchomp, even if it has 2 shields to no shields. So they land another Aqua Tail there. I'm committing to the lick down to at least try to leave this situation with energy to threaten one of those 2 remaining shields that they have. I'm waiting to see what they decide to bring in to deal with my Snorlax. I'm hoping they're maybe worried about a potential superpower, and they come in with their own Garchomp, and I'm like, beautiful. I don't have superpower. I have Outrage. I go for it immediately. It lands. They were essentially attempting to save those 2 shields for their next match because they did not want to use it here. I've gone for Body Slam. This will get the Garchomp soul so low, it has to threaten one of those two shields. Finally, it does get it, and it looks like they want to commit to a mud shot down, but they're figuring out that Snorlax is a bit too tubby for that, so they're going for a Sand Tomb. This should take out my Snorlax's remaining health, or it got me down to 1 HP, then they mud shot me. And now I feel good considering how low that Garchomp's health is to bring in my own Metagross, because all they have is Sand Tomb. They've already shown it. I'm not worried about Earthquake coming through and one-shotting my Metagross. So then they Sand Tomb my Metagross, and then they throw another Sand Tomb, but 2 Sand Tombs is not going to be enough to threaten my Metagross, even without these shields. So after those two things happen, I'm attempting to Bullet Punch down. I take out their Garchomp, and then they decide to quit. Don't blame them, because once the Magnezone came in, I was going to go into Garchomp, and they wouldn't have had a chance. So this is my go-to team when I'm not seeing a bunch of Togekiss leads. And honestly, you know, I did pull out that one match where I had a Togekiss lead. But again, if you're seeing a bunch of them, refer to the Magnezone team. I feel pretty good about having 2 go-to teams like this. This was a solid 4-1 set. Could have potentially been a 5-0 if I had the right moveset on Snorlax. But I would have needed to land that Outrage, which is no easy task. And if I didn't, I still would have lost that. Either way, let me know what you think of the teams. Let me know what you think of the battles. And let me know what your go-to teams are Master Premier. Because it feels good to have 2. I wouldn't mind having a 3rd one. Also, thank you guys all so much for 3,000 subscribers. I really appreciate your support the most, and I will see you guys in the next video.